And I'm like, man, you got me fucked up. I ain't running shit. And he was like, if you don't run it, I'm gonna blow you. And he was like, I'm gonna shoot you type.
When BTB Savage said those infamous words during his Vlad TV interview, he probably thought it would boost his street credibility, but instead, it turned into a death sentence. Just days later, he was ambushed and killed in Houston's upscale River Oaks neighborhood on March 30, 2023. His real name was Daryl Gentry, a 26-year-old rapper originally from Cleveland, Ohio, who made a name for himself in San Antonio through a mix of military service, scam rap, and raw authenticity. Gentry wasn't just rapping about the streets. He had lived through real-life experiences, serving 4 years in the U.S. Army and reaching the rank of private first class, something his mother, Benita Ward, always reminded people of when critics tried to dismiss him as just another street rapper. His music career took off in the early 2020s, riding the Detroit-inspired scam rap wave, with tracks like Scam Party 2022 and My Turn 2023, full of gritty references to fraud, bank scams, and the hustle. His brand, BTB, short for Break the Bank, was built on flashy visuals and real street credibility, not just industry clout. But the events that would eventually lead to his death started weeks before in February, during a violent home invasion at his San Antonio apartment. Gentry survived and claimed self-defense, but instead of letting the situation die down, he spoke about it publicly and mocked the assailant online. That interview and the social media posts that followed stirred up major street politics, and many now believe that flaunting his survival and disrespecting the dead online only escalated things. What seemed like a victory in self-defense soon spiraled into a deadly cycle of retaliation, with the streets now saying the truth behind his killing doesn't fully match the police report.
They was always hitting me up to do music and shit like that. So I was like, all right, bet. But one day, it was late. I was like, shit, they was gonna pay for the future or whatever.
On February 3rd, 2023, the turning point came when a man named Omar Richardson, a 34-year-old OG, tried to rob BTB Savage at gunpoint inside his own home. The attempted robbery ended with Richardson being shot and killed, and under Texas's castle doctrine law, San Antonio police ruled it a clear case of justified self-defense. But while the law might have cleared Gentry, the streets didn't. Richardson's death sparked outrage among his people, and one name in particular stood out.
And I'm like, man, you got me fucked up. I ain't running shit. And he was like, if you don't run it, I'm gonna blow you. And he was like, I'm gonna shoot you type.
40-year-old known gang member from New Braunfels was closely connected to Richardson, even though they weren't related by blood. Both were affiliated with the Styx gang in San Antonio and considered each other brothers. So when Richardson was killed, Gentry immediately landed in the crosshairs of street retaliation, a slow-burning threat that built over the weeks. The situation escalated even further when BTB Savage did a Vlad TV interview that dropped on March 26, 2023. In the 31-minute interview, Gentry detailed the entire home invasion, describing the deadly encounter in a way that many felt was cold and arrogant.
I ain't gonna lie, it ain't that bad. Like, I went to sleep good as hell the next day. I was happy as hell too. I'm like, ooh. I mean, I ain't tripping, the arm fucked up or whatever, but I ain't dead.
Vlad TV interview went insanely viral, racking up over 3.3 million views and sparking major debate in the hip-hop world. Critics, including OGs like Benzino, slammed Vlad TV for potentially putting artists in danger by letting them speak openly about active, sensitive situations. But the interview was only the start of what many saw as a series of reckless choices. In the days that followed, BTB Savage kept posting on social media, with content that people viewed as trolling Richardson's people. These posts, on top of his detailed public retelling of the home invasion, created what many saw as a ticking time bomb. The most controversial, and ultimately fatal, move came on the morning of March 30, 2023, when Gentry posted pictures on Instagram standing in the very room where the February shooting had taken place. The photos showed him confidently posing next to dried blood and bullet holes, captioned "Too much motion," which he used as both a promo for his upcoming tape and what others saw as blatant disrespect. The timing and tone were viewed by many as dangerously provocative, especially with the Vlad interview still fresh and known threats already circulating. The reaction came fast. Within hours, associates of Richardson were making noise online, promising immediate retaliation. For many, it wasn't a matter of if something would happen, but when. The short time between BTB Savage's Instagram post and what happened next showed how fast social media can escalate real street beef. That same evening, around 6:10 p.m., Gentry was ambushed while sitting in his white Mercedes-Benz SUV in Houston's upscale River Oaks area. The attackers, driving a black Subaru Outback with Florida plates, fired dozens of shots in what police immediately identified as a planned hit. The location made the situation even more shocking. River Oaks is one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in Houston, so such bold, public violence caught both residents and police off guard. Houston Police Chief Troy Finner confirmed it was a targeted assassination, pointing out that despite the heavy gunfire, no innocent bystanders were hurt, which showed how calculated the attack was. The investigation moved quickly thanks to modern tech. Police used license plate readers along I-10 to trace the suspect vehicle traveling from San Antonio to Houston before the shooting and back again afterward. Cell phone records also placed the main suspect near Gentry's location for hours, proving it wasn't random, it was premeditated. On April 11, 2023, Montreal Burley was arrested and charged with the murder. His bond was set at $1 million. The evidence against Burley included cell phone records, license plate tracking, and ballistic data linking him directly to the crime scene. A second shooter remained unidentified, though police said the investigation was still ongoing. In the aftermath, court documents revealed a deeper story. Burley viewed the death of Omar Richardson as a personal insult that had to be avenged. Even though Gentry's actions were ruled as legally justified self-defense under Texas law, that didn't matter in the streets, where reputation and loyalty often outweigh legality. Gentry's mother, Benita Ward, became a public voice for her son, calling for justice while also reminding the world that he was more than just his rap image. She described him as a dedicated father to his 4-year-old child and a man whose military service and entrepreneurial drive were rarely acknowledged in the media. But to understand how BTB Savage ended up losing his life, you have to rewind to the night that changed everything. February 3, 2023. That night in San Antonio began like any other for Gentry. He was focused on his music, chasing features, and trying to secure a future for his family. But that evening took a dark turn when a supposed collab offer turned into a setup. A young rapper had been blowing up Gentry's phone, pushing for a late-night studio session. The pitch sounded good. He claimed to have gear, money, and serious interest in working together. Despite sensing something was off, especially because of the late hour, around 10 or 11 p.m., Gentry pushed past the red flags. He was hungry for a quick bag, trying to build his name and provide for his family. That decision would change his life forever. This decision, driven by legitimate business ambitions, would ultimately put him and his loved ones in serious danger. The visitors showed up with what looked like real studio equipment, setting the tone for a professional collaboration. But Gentry's instincts, sharpened by both military training and street experience, started picking up red flags. The two men, the younger rapper and his older associate, later identified as Omar Richardson, seemed more interested in scoping out the apartment than making music. Things got even sketchier when the younger guy suddenly said he needed to head back to the car to grab more equipment, leaving Richardson alone inside. That move set off alarms for Gentry. Real collaborators don't split like that, especially not in a stranger's home. Acting on instinct, Gentry locked both deadbolts on his front door. Richardson kept up the act for a while, flashing some cash and talking about business to lower Gentry's guard while scoping out the apartment. Then the conversation shifted toward Gentry's jewelry, with Richardson asking where he got his chains, a clear attempt to gather info for the robbery he was plotting. And then, in an instant, the mask came off. While Gentry was distracted, Richardson pulled a gun and made his move. The switch from fake collaborator to armed robber was quick and violent, exposing the calculated setup behind the visit. But Gentry didn't fold. Instead of handing over his jewelry, he stood his ground, a response shaped by both his military training and his street code. That refusal turned the situation deadly. Surrendering to home invaders would have been seen as a violation of both personal dignity and street code. The threats escalated when Richardson began targeting not just Gentry, but also his girlfriend and young son, who were both inside the apartment at the time. That shift turned a robbery into a full-blown home invasion, putting an entire family at risk, including a 4-year-old child who was asleep in another room. The presence of the child became a critical factor in how the situation unfolded, adding urgency and instinctive protectiveness to an already deadly standoff. The physical struggle that followed was brutal and chaotic, with both men fighting for control in a confined space, multiple weapons involved, and life-or-death decisions being made in real time. Gentry's military training kicked in. He used combat moves, arm locks, and strategic positioning to try and disarm Richardson and shield his family. But the danger escalated even more when gunfire erupted and bullets began tearing through the walls, with some rounds entering the room where his son was sleeping. The stakes couldn't have been higher. And if you're still watching, you're a real one. Tap in with our other videos for more raw street-level content.